Good evening, and it's really an honor to be here in this August audience, and thanks Dr. Batra and Priyanshi and the BW team. I'm going to share the story of Bisleri in terms of two dimensions. One is about, we have possibly one of the few brands in this country which have been category creators and market leaders for over 50 years. Many brands have fallen by the wayside, so obviously we should have done something right in terms of ensuring that we are relevant and we maintain that brand love across the generations. So that's our brand. And our focus has been to make drinking water available at an affordable price to consumers. That's been a single-minded focus of our business. Now, obviously, we kept improving or evolving our connect across generations to what is relevant. And if you ask me what is the current challenge that I have, is to make Bisleri cool for the Gen Z. And that's what you see out there with Deepika in that new ad. But what I'm going to share with you is not that part of the story. There's another part of the story which is equally important and critical for the Gen Z, which is about brands' accountability to environment. And that's what really I'm going to share about. Now, when we look at our business, there are two fundamental challenges. One, the product itself, which is water. And secondly, whatever packaging you adopt, that again is a challenge. Now, before I proceed further, let me reassure you that as a corporate, we have been a water positive and a plastic neutral organization for the last 4 years. Well ahead of the government mandates, when the government indicated that we should be recycling 70%, we were already at 102%. So that's accountability we demonstrate for the last 4 years. We've been improving on that. That's really the story that I want to share with you today. And this is actually under two different approaches. One about promoting water conservation, which is Project Nai Umeed, as we would like to call it. And the second is about bottles for change, because we believe that our bottle gets identified with a lot of things. So we believe that our bottle should be representing change that we want to see in the society. Let me first take you through our water initiative. Unlike a lot of companies in our beverage segment, we don't believe in these mega plants which are located, which operate on cost efficiencies and maybe feed 2 or 3 states. We have strategically located plants, maybe close to 150 of them, closer to the market. So we are able to actually replenish water at that medium scale plant, and the carbon footprint is also lower because we are closer to the market. In fact, we've been improving and setting the benchmarks on efficiency. In the current year alone, in the last 9 months, we have saved over 31 million cartons equivalent of Bisleri water through our processing efficiency improvements. And the second thing what we do, every factory that we have, we adopt ponds or water bodies in the vicinity and ensure it is replenished, restored, and the water gets recharged into the ground. Not only that, our efforts reach rural, where we build check dams. I think so far we would have done about close to 290 of them, benefiting farmers by having water through the year. So from a 30,000 annual income, it can go up to about 3.5 lakh rupees, because then they can do multiple things with the water that's available, even have cattle and other stuff. And that's a lake which constructed in Ladakh, the second one in fact, which is feeding about 12 villages. It is constructed at an altitude of 11,500 feet, possibly one of the artificially restored, man restored lake at that altitude. That started with our Ladakh marathon participation. When we were placing these bottles, villagers came and said, "Sir, you're placing all these bottles on the road. We really don't have water to drink." And that's when we said we should do something about it. And that's what we have done. However, I think having said all this, there is a stark reality which is hitting us. India has 18% of the population of the world, but only 4% of the groundwater. And as Indians, we are very good at extracting it at the highest rate in the world. Our per capita availability has dropped by 1/4. So what is estimated is that the next 20 years, if you don't do something about it, 80% of our drinking water will be under trouble. And that's going to be a serious issue. So this is the background of the declaration by our Honorable Prime Minister of Mission LIFE, where he said that people as individuals, collectives or corporates should indulge in environment friendly activities, and these activities must be rewarded with equivalent of carbon green credits, and government will set up a platform on which it can be traded. The guys who do well can make money out of it, like what's happening in the case of carbon credits today. As the largest water company in the country, we thought we should do something about it. So we lacked the academic expertise, so we hired expertise of Dr. Arun Kansal and team from Terry University to understand and study these areas related to establishing water credit, which could be similar in operation to carbon credits. We said, let's understand everything that's happening around the world in terms of water trading mechanisms. And we should, at the end of the day, the study should be able to create a framework or a module which will help any company or a corporate or an individual to establish what is my water footprint. And if I'm able to save on top of that, I should be rewarded. Obviously, there's a contextual piece on this. Unlike carbon, which is universal, water has got an impact restricted to the watershed. A saving in a Kerala versus a saving in a Rajasthan need to have different remuneration levels. So we said we'll take two of our factories, one in Sahibabad here, where the Ghazipur Nala is the only water source which is in Delhi, and one in Lonavala, which had a lake and rivers nearby, and also rain fed in that sense. Those are the two terrains where we studied. A study over an year, because end of the day, water needs to be understood from changes related to climate and also the entire watershed it operates. Let me cut the long story short. It's a pretty large output, about 182 pages. We said when we started this, one debate which we were having is, shouldn't we be accountable for what happens only within our fence? And we're pretty good at it. I told you the numbers that we do. Then we said, no. We have chosen to conduct the business in Bombay, maybe procuring material from Jammu in terms of plastic. We should be accountable for our sourcing and the way our supply chain networks are configured. So we said we have to look at it holistically and derive the water footprint of the business. And these were numbers which jumped at us when we conducted the study finally. Normally to make a bottle of Bisleri, 1 liter, it takes about 1.08 liters. But when we did the entire water footprint, we realized that in Lonavala, it took about 10 liters of water, and in Ghaziabad, it took about 15 liters of water. Compare it against a carbonated beverage of about 56 liters of water that goes into making of 1 liter. I think this kind of hit us. So we said, let us reconfigure our entire network. In fact, as we speak, one of the biggest areas were energy consumption and the source. From a 3% alternate energy source, we have actually moved into 30% at the exit of January. So that has been a big wake-up call to us. We have rejigged our plastic sourcing and transport as well. Finally, this was our submission to the government. We dedicated the study to the Jal Shakti Ministry and to the government, that apart from all that, what is interesting for a brand is really water sustainability based product labels, which reflect how responsible is this brand on water footprint. Like what we have, the star rating in the electrical appliances, maybe something like this. So this is again another thought which we would propose to the Consumer Affairs Ministry. Maybe we should look at it. Let me move on to the next challenge of ours, which is plastic. Now, I am not a votary of plastic. I am not the ambassador of plastic. I am just interested in providing a safe water to my consumers. When I look at alternatives, we look at safety, scalability, affordability in the Indian context, and obviously what is the final environment footprint. Contrary to a lot of perceptions, it has been conclusively proved around the world that PET possibly is one of the best solutions that's available. And not only for beverages, but even for pharmaceuticals. Obviously, I'm sure you wouldn't pack your medicines in a stupid packaging material. Similar is the case in terms of a carbon footprint. In fact, somebody was remarking the other day in one of the conferences, if we were to withdraw the entire plastic in this world and move to alternate sources, the global warming that will come out of the alternates which are got to be put into place is going to be tremendous. And we were estimating X number of years it can bring down the human race by. That's how significant it is. So we must understand, don't throw the baby out of the bathwater. There is a plastic issue, but plastic is not bad. It is really people, we who handle this plastic, who are irresponsible about it. And that is what we set out to correct. We said, as one of the largest companies operating in this plastic as a packaging medium, we should do something about consumer education. Make people aware that used plastic is valuable, it can be repurposed. And at the same time, a lot of people said, okay, fine, I have segregated my plastic, but what do I do about it? Maybe we should provide systems to pick it up and send it directly for recycling. And that is our program all about. We have now reached over 1.4 million people, and that's a kind of partnerships that we have been able to establish, because we believe we are a small company. We can create multiplier effect when you really partner with large organizations, corporates, educational institutions. There are some of the educational institutions have upwards of 60,000 students in a location. I mean, that multiplier factor is huge. So we have done interesting work. In fact, our uniforms at Bisleri are made out of recycled PET bottles. We create stuff like that. And these are some of the partnerships that we have had, both in public and in private. You can see that the government of Tamil Nadu has actually entrusted a couple of material recovery facilities, which we run for the government of Tamil Nadu. The facility is owned by government, the people are by the government, vehicles are by government, but we ensure it is run efficiently. And interestingly, we believe that when you join hands, you can also create something which touches the community at large. At present, Bisleri with PSG Arts and Science, Coimbatore, holds the Guinness World Record for the collection of maximum number of plastic bottles in 12 hours. That's 80 tons. We said if you're doing something about recycled plastic and communicating the possibility of value, that recycled material should be there in public space. And that's what we have done through these benches. These are made out of Bisleri bottle caps. And we also thought it's a good opportunity for us to showcase the creativity of people who don't have hands and still are creative and able to paint with their feet and mouth. And those are the paintings which we have featured. It's now in very important public spaces, including Shastri Bhavan in Delhi, which houses 18 ministries of the Union Government of India. And the Education Secretary himself had come to inaugurate the placement of these benches in every single floor of that building. And not only that, that's our partnership with the Taj Group of Hotels. The luxury properties have our benches. So it is not just the common man, as you call it, but even the people who are into the luxury space should start seeing the value of repurposed plastic. That's something which we did at in Jaipur Literature Festival.
Jaipur Literature Festival. Stories come alive in every corner, and so does the story of change. Just like every book has a story to tell, every plastic bottle holds the potential to write a new one. From Waste to Wonder, crafted with 100% recycled plastic, this bookshelf is proof that sustainability isn't just an idea, it's an action. It's not just about recycling, it's about reimagining. Each bottle repurposed is a step towards a greener tomorrow. Every story of change begins with a promise to reimagine, recycle, and rebuild a better future.
So that's something which we featured in both the World Book Forum also, which happened in New Delhi. And this is something interesting again. We have been trying to keep the forests clean. And the UNESCO Heritage Forest of Coorg, we have had multiple rounds of cleanup in participation with the schools and colleges nearby. And we're also working with the government of Tamil Nadu to ensure that Ooty becomes possibly the first hill station in the country to be not plastic free, but plastic waste free. And that's what we're working on there. And this is another novel initiative at Ranthambore, where we have set up the material recovery facility to clean the forest, sort it there, and send it for recycling directly. The next one is happening in Panna National Park in this week. And there's a lot of work happening across all the forests. We want to ensure that we ensure it is picked up, sorted, and sent for recycling. Don't allow plastic to get into landfill. That's our principle. We also work with reputed organizations like Observer Research Foundation to create this entire knowledge base on plastic circularity so people understand the potential of this business. That's 2024 Raisina Dialogues. We published the book. This is something very interesting because in our work on Bottles for Change, we realized that if you are able to inculcate responsibility in kids, then that will make the difference. And people don't understand plastic today, and we have created with Center for Environmental Education possibly the most comprehensive guide, which is very well illustrated for schools. And it is printed in 9 languages today and made available. We are also creating now video clips of this, 10 to 12 minute clips, followed by a 3-minute activity. So the teacher can just play it, conduct the activity, and that the learnings get reinforced that plastic is not bad, we need to be responsible about dealing with it. And we had published we are a private company, okay? We are not in the public space. We are a completely privately held zero-debt company. We had published our first sustainability report in 2021-22, as you can see. And the BRSR report in the country is to be published only by companies, the top 1,000 companies in market cap. But we have voluntarily published it this year, ensuring that we are accountable and transparent about how we handle the environment. The consumers in this country have loved us for 50 years, 55 years to be precise, and we would like to complete a century of brand love, both by being relevant and by being accountable to the environment. That's the part of the Bisleri story that I wanted to share with you. Before I sign off, a small video to sum up what we do.
चलो घर से मिले।
तू एक बूंद दिल जिंदगी है, तू खुश सी मुस्कान है, हर जगह है तू डगमग पंख है, ऊंची उड़ान है तू, सारा जहां है तू, जहाँ मंजिल के परे ओ पागल बुलबुले बचपन के तले वही तेरा घर मिले।
इस घर को हम प्यार से रखते हैं। बिस्लरी, ग्रीन प्रॉमिस।
Thank you so much, Business World and the audience for giving me a patient hearing. Thank you.